Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Yasmine A. Flores and welcome to another episode of the Arts at EPCC. With me today is a theater student, Raul Insurriaga. Riaga, yes. Sorry, I am so sorry. Okay. I know I texted it about 1,000 times to Ted Carver, and so I was like, I know I'm going to butcher his name. I'm so sorry, but hello and welcome.
Sorry, I lost my voice last night.
Yes, you told me.
At rehearsal, so that's why I sound a little hoarse.
Yes, but I appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, I want to just jump right into it, Little Tin Dogs.
Oh.
Yeah,
yes.
That was such a great role that you played, and you did such a fantastic job
Thank
with
you.
that as well. And I'd like to tell the audience a little bit about that. So on EPCC TV, on YouTube, you can find the recording of Little Tin Dogs that Ted Carver put on here at EPCC, and you were the main character of the show.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. There's two main parts, right? My role, Evangel, and Vanessa Kaiser's Coco, right, who is the mother of my character.
Okay.
So it's a story about their life. So they're the two main characters
Right.
of the show.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about Little Tin Dogs and what it's about so that people can check it out, because I know it doesn't have enough views. I want 1 million, right?
Well, so it's a show from the mind of our amazing theater coordinator, Ted Carver. He wrote that show.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't want to spoil anything, right?
Okay.
So in the brief description, I could say it's a show about the struggles of a very, very dysfunctional family.
Okay.
And how their twisted little world gets torn apart by an outsider. And, you know, the things that the characters realize, the things that they learn throughout this little journey. You know, like I said, Evangel, the role I play, he's supposed to be about a 40-year-old man.
Okay.
Right, and then Vanessa's role, Coco, she's supposed to be an older lady, close to her 80s, right?
Okay.
So this is the person who's lived life, and she's set on her own ways.
Okay.
She knows what she wants, and she will do anything she can to achieve that, right? And like I said, this is a story of how their own little twisted world kind of gets torn apart, and Evangel himself finds a way out, right? Because he's a little trapped, we could say, right?
Yeah.
But that's as much as I like to give away.
Sure.
The show is, you know, for mature audiences. There's a little things here and there that are, in my opinion, a little disturbing. To say, right?
Sure.
Nothing graphic or anything too bad. Or the themes that the show deals with are a little bit more adult-oriented than, you know, your usual typical light shows that we've done before. We've done little The Romancers, which was a prior show to that. Our last live performance that we had, The Good Doctor, you know, a pretty airy, fluffy comedy that we did by Anton Chekhov. So it's totally different, right?
Yes, it was. It was so good. I mean, I was watching it and I was like, these guys did a really good job.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You know, and I think, you know, I'm so happy to see all the different arts departments, all the fine arts and mass comm as well, that are doing these really great shows. Because the thing is, we have the talent here at EPCC, and you're one of those talented students that we have. And it's like, I want to showcase the students that we have here at EPCC that are all about, you know, going on and doing great things with their lives. And so speaking of, tell me what your plans are.
So my plans have changed a little bit now, my original goal was to become a theater teacher for high school. But I thought about it and I said, well, might as well just go the whole way, and hopefully one day I'll be Ted's co-worker. That's nice! I was hoping that one day, if everything goes well, that I could see if I could teach at the college level.
Yeah.
Because my idea is, okay, so I always thought nowadays the schools, like just the way it works, they just have this idea to telling kids, it's like, oh, you got to go to a 4-year university. You have to make sure that, you get this amazing career, right? Everybody wants to be a doctor. Everybody wants to be a surgeon, a nuclear technician,
Right.
these crazy things.
Yeah.
And, there's kids who are just not into that stuff, right? So I would like to be a speech teacher as well, giving the opportunity to kids to be able to express themselves,
Right.
And say what's on their mind, because there's other opportunities that kids could have.
Right.
I want to be that person that tells me, hey, it's okay. Like maybe they're good with their hands. It's like you like to be an electrician.
Right.
We like to try out the automotive program. We like to, I don't know, be a welder. There's so many things that in this fields of work that people are always needed, because there's always these things going on. So I want to be that teacher that understands that not every person is destined to be this amazing, shining bright star right there, because like there's other parts to a constellation that keep that system working. It's not just about the largest suns, that burn the brightest. There's other things that go into complementing those things, and there's nothing wrong. Like I feel like we look down on things like that. Like there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't have these dreams of this grandeur aspirations. This amazing things that it's like sometimes you just want to live a quiet life, right?
Sure.
And
Right.
I feel like we put that to the side a lot, for, everybody says like, you all are leaders, but what's a leader without a good follower, right?
Right.
When you have a bunch of leaders, then you have this conflicts of, well, who's gonna follow who?
Right.
Who's gonna do that? I don't wanna do that, I'm the leader.
Right.
And being a follower doesn't mean that you can't think for yourself.
Right.
Being a follower just, a follower can be a person that has this ideas and understands how things work, but it's able to take orders, it's able to understand and do things. Like you can give me a task and I can find a million different ways to complete that task.
Right.
As efficient as I can. So we need people that, that understand that we as people need to understand that, right? Like not everybody needs to be a leader, right? And I want to give the kids that chance to understand that they have things that they could do, that they can excel. So that's why I like the idea of being a teacher, At some point I also, I wanted to be a rock star, everybody wanted to, but I understand that, well, if I can be, the next Golden Globe winner, then maybe I could help create the next one,
Right.
Maybe I can give somebody the chance that, does have those aspirations and make sure that, get there with a solid foundation,
Absolutely.
which is what EPCC has given me. And I appreciate that, everything that Ted's done for us for the program, giving me and many other students the opportunities that he has.
Sure.
And, I feel like the theater program does deserve a little bit more putting themselves out there, right? Because for a long time, they've just been sitting quiet a little bit.
Right.
And so I really want to make sure that we go out there and, let them know that we are here, because many kids don't know that we have a theater program, right?
I know.
They think that their only option is UTEP, we're going out of town, but no, we are here to make sure that they have that solid foundation, a good starting point,
Absolutely. I think everything you said is the reason for the show. And it's like, looking back at, so about a year ago, when I contacted Dr. Hiron here at EPCC, and I said I'd like to start this show to advertise all these departments. Because, so I have been the coordinator over music for several years now, one of the coordinators. We have 3 right now. And so we're constantly advertising posters, and I've done, radio stations, and I've done the news stations, when we promote things. And it's like, I think I wanted to shed the light on everybody.
Yes.
Because, and Ted is fantastic.
Yes.
I agree with you. He is so much fun to work with and just fun to talk to.
Yes.
Sometimes I text Ted at night and I'm like, Ted, what are you doing? And he's a cat lover. So he's always, feeding his cats, or one of the cats is sick or something, But and that's, you touched on so many different points. And I want to stress that one of the things you said was that not everybody has to be the superstar in space.
Yeah.
And I will say, though, that I think if we can get everyone to be the best version of themselves, right? That's just it, and that's what we shoot for. And sometimes there are people that win Academy Awards and Golden Globes and Grammys in our area, right? And so, but there's a people that support the industry. So, without delving into the most recent events, but there's been several award shows. The one that's in the news right now. But I will say, you know, and speaking of the Academy Awards, for example, when you see, like when Coda went up to pick up their award, the group of people, whenever it's an animated series or whenever it's a group project, I love when they bring up everyone on stage, because when you have the best actor and the best actress and the best film score or whatever, and it's just the one person, a lot of people don't realize that one person has an army of 100 behind them. I mean, you know, pick any artist, Nicole Kidman, okay, let's just randomly, probably has a team of at least 10, if not 20 people. Yeah. And that's only because she's not as famous right now as some of these other folks like Lady Gaga or I know Britney Spears is coming back into the limelight, and that's all from my generation.
I know. Right? The 2000s are coming back.
Right, yeah, the 2000s are back, and they all look the same, and I don't. How is it, right? But yeah, so it's really crazy because they do acknowledge at the microphone, they acknowledge, oh, I'd like to thank my manager, I'd like to thank Sony, I'd like to thank whoever it is. And it's like, wow, you know, but you don't get to see their faces. You don't get to really know who any of those folks are. And they work so hard to keep that person in the limelight and to keep them famous and to create stories about them. You know, sometimes I scratch my head and I wonder if that whole episode at the Academies wasn't done on purpose. I don't know, you know.
That surely rocked the world.
Right.
I do have my theories, right?
Sure,
whatever everybody does. But yeah, like you say, it's just this group efforts, right? Like, I mean, Little Tin Dogs, for example, it wasn't just the theater department, right?
Right.
It was also the mass communications department, right?
The sign language folks.
The sign language program as well.
Yes.
With Jennifer. So, like, you know, we all came together and we do this thing, right? Like, even just the theater itself, like, it's not just Ted, right? We also have Mr. Dominic Pagano, who's our technical director, who is in charge of building these amazing sets, you know, like.
Yes.
And it's amazing what he gets to do with sometimes so little, you know, right?
I know.
Like he just, like that man's mind just works in crazy, crazy ways, right? Because
and the set for Little Tin Dogs, let me talk about this, okay? Because I remember there's a stairwell.
There's
like a door that's coming out of a second story, and there's a little stairwell down. And then you've got the kitchen over here, and this just all appears on the same stage. This isn't a split stage or anything like that. And it's all done so well, and it's so convincing, because what makes it convincing is that I forget that it's a stage, right? I mean, it's like some of Medea's old clips, for example. If you've ever watched the old stage versions of Medea before she did the movies, okay? Well, I say he before he did the movies, it's you forget that you're looking at props, and it's not, you know, a real background.
It's not immersion.
Right. It's not a house.
Right.
And so it's really crazy, and I just find it so fascinating. And so you all did a phenomenal job. Now, question: what's coming up? Because Ted emailed me very excited about, I want to say, a summer production that's coming up.
Okay, so I mean, I might be breaking an NDA. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding. So this week we have a small show that we're putting up for the students, right? We're not advertising it because it's a small black box show that he's calling the 6x10, right? So that's happening this weekend.
Okay.
It's for his students, so that they can experience the theater and how the little mechanisms of how it works, right?
Yeah.
Their next big show, which it's happening next week, actually, it's Fun Home over at
Right, at TM.
At TM, right? That's a show as well that has had to be postponed because of COVID and many things, right? So that's a show that it was supposed to be last year for Pride Month because it's an LGBTQ plus show.
Oh,
So,
okay.
It was supposed to be last year, and around that time. Then, this summer Ted has a couple of shows planned, and I do believe that he's planning to do this show called The Kiss of the Spider Woman, which is also going to be an LGBTQ plus show.
Okay.
That he's thinking about that, and I believe he has a couple other shows on the pipeline coming up. But right now the most important is to go support Mr. Greg Thompson at TM with a Fun Home next week.
Sure.
And after that, sometimes things change, right, because of schedules and stuff like that, or sometimes you can't get the rights to a show, things
I
like
know
that happen.
that you want to talk about background, what goes on behind the curtain, and that's a big thing right now at EPCC. I am so it's gotten to the point where, like, a couple of guests ago, I had a music person here, a music student, as a matter of fact, and I started singing Gershwin's "I've Got Rhythm." I got rhythm. It's not I've. It's I.
Right.
I got rhythm, but I just sang the beginning, and I was like, cannot sing any further.
We don't have the rights to
Right,
that.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, and so I sang enough of it so that you could still question what it was I was singing.
Right, so it's still those couple notes, right?
Right.
Not quite a copyright, but
Right, exactly. And that's a huge issue, and we pay a lot of money for licensing and all of that, and it's and this is the issue with a lot of these plays. And so in case you're ever wondering at home why we don't do some other productions, it's getting the rights.
Right.
And it's very expensive.
it's expensive, it's hard.
Yes, exactly.
There's certain guidelines. For example, if a show is touring, they will not release the rights for it. One of the shows that just never releases the rights for is The Lion King, because they're always touring. So you can never really do that unless you're part of that production, right?
Oh, wow.
I think for The Kiss of the Spider Woman, the author has passed away. So Ted had to get in contact with their state, and their state is in Argentina. Because it's an Argentina show, right? It's a story about, I believe, something that happened over there. It's set in that time frame, right? Of like I think a Revolutionary War or some kind.
Okay.
But it's hard, like there's not only the distance barrier, there's also a language barrier. And he said that for many years the people just did not reply.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was super excited because he's like, we're doing the Kiss of the Spider Woman. And I was like,
That's
you
awesome.
got the rights? It's like, they replied? It's like, yeah. They finally replied after
My
many
goodness.
many times, emailing them. He wrote letters. And it's just like, they finally replied, and we got the rights to the show.
That's
I was
wonderful.
like, that's crazy.
That's great. And I can speak to that. There's times, so I remember I was trying to get something published, and I must have sent out 20 letters to different publishing companies. And the person that actually helped me eventually was a sheet music store owner. Said, you know what, I know a guy that'll publish it for you. So email this guy, and he did. And so I have this little obscure piece that nobody cares about, that's published that I arranged. It wasn't, I did not write it, okay, but it was more like edited, I should say. But anyhow, my point being is that if there ever comes a time when you're trying to get a hold of something or someone, don't give up.
Right.
Because just stay persistent.
Yes.
And it's so true with everything. So if you're out there and you're wanting to give up, because we've all been there.
Not yet.
Yeah, don't give up. Just stick with it. And I'm so glad that Ted did. That's really fantastic.
Because that show it's a fantastic show.
That's great.
It's one of those things that like just grabs your heart and just
Yeah, I'm confusing it. So random story now. This just popped into my head. I'm confusing it with an episode of Tales from the Crypt. No, it's Tales from the Dark Side. It's a woman who drinks out of a cup, and there's a spider in the cup, and she turns into a spider.
No, that's just the title.
Okay.
I don't want to give a lot of it away.
Sure,
right?
of course.
But yeah, like it's like I said, it's a show that happens sometime in a guerrilla kind of thing.
Okay.
And the main characters are actually in a prison, right? And it just leads to this many things, right? It's a great show. Like I said, it's amazing. It's like I said, it's heartwarming. It tugs at your heart and just makes you go like, oh, and it's a little like gut wrenching, you know? Like,
Sure.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to do anything with Spider Woman's.
Okay.
So Disney, we're not, infringing no copyrights there either,
Right, exactly.
or any future things you'd like to do.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, like it's a bit of a more realistic show. It's just like the name of the title, right?
Sure. Sure. And how many productions is Ted doing in the summer?
I believe he's trying to do 2.
Okay.
We also talked about.
Are you going to come out in any of those roles? Have you discussed that with him yet?
We've talked about it. He wants me to audition.
Yes.
Which auditions are open for all students.
Oh, wonderful. And let me say that. That's great. I'm so glad you just said that. Let me remind everybody that there are posters that come out regularly. And keep an eye out for those posters. Keep an eye out on our Facebook page as well, the EPCC news page for EPCC. And you will see advertisements from Ted Carber and Dominic Pagano. If you would like to star in one of these theater productions, come and audition. And we had a music major, DeAndre Wright.
DeAndre Wright, yes.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yeah.
And he's a lot of fun. And so he really enjoyed himself. I think his daughter also came out in one of the earlier productions too. And so I always like to brag about our students, and he was very excited to do that. Yeah. And it's a great crossover.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Because, he's got this amazing presence, this amazing voice.
I know.
And,
Exactly.
He played the quote-unquote villain of our last play, The Romancers, which is also on the EPCC TV. And, he's got this amazing presence, and he's so tall and, well-built. It's just like, he was amazing on stage. But yeah, like I said, he's got a couple plays. We are talking about, we're putting the idea out there. I asked him if he would mentor me to direct a play. Because I would like to direct a Latino play for Hispanic Heritage Month. And he said, yeah, we could. We want to talk about it, and we'll think about doing that as well, coming down on September, around that time frame, right?
Because, great!
So just putting the idea out there, for because he said that he would like to do it, right? And I said, will you let me direct it? Because I would like to have that experience. And he said, yeah, we can talk about it. We just have to make sure, because it's a project that we like to do. Involving many different things, right? Involving many different people, right? Because what I'm thinking about is doing it with high school students, getting in contact with the high schools so that they can have that experience and they can see what our program is about, right? So that, they see what we're about, they see what's going on here, and let them know that they also have this opportunity to come to this fantastic program, right?
Right.
So we wanted to start stretching out and, going out and letting them know.
That's wonderful.
So, just putting that idea out there, we are talking about that. We will love to do it.
And what production is it?
We're not sure yet. I'm looking at different shows. I was looking at this one. I think it's a dark comedy. It's called Enfrascada. And I've been reading it. It's amazing. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Culture Clash. It's their name. It's a trio of comedians back from the 90s, and I know that one will be hard to probably get the rights to, because they have this really amazing little skit called "Being a Chicano Activist in the 90s," where this guy revives with voodoo as well. There's a theme going on there.
Yeah.
He revives Che Guevara into 1990s LA, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. They have this spoof on Stand and Deliver.
Oh, wow.
Stand and Deliver pizza is what they call it.
Oh my gosh.
And they have this story of the first Chicano ever, who was, according to them, an illegitimate son of Christopher Columbus.
Oh my God.
So like that's the story of the first Chicano ever, right? So and they're amazing. Like I said, they're a comedy troupe from the 90s in LA, and they have amazing works. I know for that it will be hard to get the rights to perform on stage, but it's amazing. So yeah, we're looking into that. We want to do something fun, something that we don't want to just, because I mean, like I said, Little Tin Dogs, guys, it's a heavy play. So we just don't want to be doing heavy plays all the time.
Right. You want to do something fun.
We want to do something that's
fantastic.
And fun.
Yeah, and so you're going to be reaching out to the schools, which I think is also wonderful. You're going to hopefully be doing this Latin production, Hispanic Chicanx production.
Yes.
And so I think that's all really terrific, and I want to tell you that I'm sure you're going to get great success with a production like that, especially with the kids, because it reaches out to them and it relates to them a little bit more, to us, I should say, and all those little subtle nuances, those little things that the Hispanic, and I should say the Mexican culture knows, that some people don't realize. Yes. So that's really, really awesome. Raul, I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you, Dr. Flores.
In the upcoming productions. Check out Raul and Little Tin Dogs on YouTube, on the EPCC TV channel.
I was also in The Romancers.
And The Romancers, that's right.
I was also on all the productions that we did during COVID time that we streamed online.
Okay, that's right. So yes,
and you guys will see my face quite often. Okay. Well, except for the first one, because we had to wear masks and everything.
Right. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Raul.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you very much.
And thank you, everybody at home, for joining us again. Until next time, good to see you. Bye, everybody.